The morning started like any other in the bustling corporate office of Axia Tech, a thriving tech firm with a reputation for innovation and industry leadership. Employees hurried about their tasks, anticipating the announcement of a new CEO expected to shake things up for the better. Among the workforce was Lisa Carter, a mid-level manager with a track record of strict policies and little tolerance for what she perceived as unprofessional behavior. Lisa's confidence in her judgment and her ability to keep order in the office had earned her a reputation as someone who ruled with an iron fist. Yet, as the day unfolded, her confidence would be her undoing. On this particular morning, Lisa noticed a casually dressed black man entering the office. He appeared a bit disheveled and slightly late, holding a small coffee cup and glancing around as if unfamiliar with the environment. Lisa immediately assumed the worst, pegging him as a temporary hire or perhaps someone interviewing for an entry-level position. Unbeknownst to her, this man, Marcus Johnson, was about to change the entire trajectory of her day and her career. Lisa's disdain was palpable as she approached Marcus, immediately confronting him about his tardiness. She didn't bother to ask for an explanation or check his credentials. "If you can't respect our office rules and arrive on time, this job isn't for you," she snapped, her tone as cold as her assumptions. Marcus, remaining calm and polite, tried to explain, but Lisa cut him off. Her mind was made up. Marcus didn't belong here, and she wasn't about to tolerate what she perceived as laziness or disrespect. She fired him on the spot, issuing a curt warning about the importance of professionalism. What Lisa didn't know was that Marcus wasn't an applicant or a temp worker. He was Axia Tech's newly appointed CEO, arriving early and unannounced to observe the workplace culture firsthand. Her decision to fire him based on nothing but an unfounded bias would soon backfire spectacularly, exposing her arrogance and prejudice for all to see. Marcus Johnson was a man who embodied resilience and excellence. Born and raised in a working-class neighborhood, he had grown up with limited resources but an abundance of ambition. His parents, a school teacher and a mechanic, instilled in him a strong work ethic and the belief that education and perseverance could break down any barrier. Marcus excelled academically, earning scholarships to prestigious universities and eventually obtaining an MBA from one of the nation's top business schools. Along the way, he faced his share of challenges, particularly racial bias and systemic obstacles, but he tackled them with grace and determination. By his mid-30s, Marcus had become a celebrated figure in the tech industry. Known for his innovative ideas and forward-thinking leadership, he had transformed struggling companies into thriving enterprises. His ability to connect with employees at all levels made him a respected and admired leader. Despite his success, Marcus remained humble and grounded, often mentoring young professionals and advocating for diversity and inclusion in the workplace. When Marcus was offered the CEO position at Axia Tech, he saw it as an opportunity to make a difference on a larger scale. But he also knew that a company's true culture couldn't be understood from polished presentations and reports. That's why he decided to arrive unannounced on his first day, blending in with the staff to observe their interactions and values. Dressed in casual attire, he aimed to see how employees treated one another without the influence of his title. It was a bold and unconventional move, one that would reveal more about the company than he had anticipated. Lisa Carter had worked at Axia Tech for nearly a decade, climbing the ranks through a combination of ambition and a knack for micromanagement. Her management style, however, was polarizing. While she was efficient and results-driven, Lisa's leadership often leaned toward authoritarianism, with little regard for the human side of her employees. She was known for enforcing strict rules and favoring those who fit her narrow definition of professionalism, often individuals who came from similar, privileged backgrounds as her own. Lisa's biases were not overtly expressed, but rather manifested in subtle ways. The way she dismissed ideas from minority employees, her reluctance to promote diverse candidates, and her tendency to judge people based on their appearance rather than their abilities. She believed her authority was unquestionable, and her confidence in her own judgment often blinded her to the strengths and potential of others. On the morning Marcus entered the office, Lisa saw only a casually dressed black man who
didn't fit her mold of what a high-performing professional should look like. Her reaction was immediate and judgmental, fueled by assumptions she had no interest in questioning. To Lisa, Marcus's appearance and perceived tardiness were enough to conclude that he didn't belong at Axia Tech. Little did she know her prejudiced mindset would soon lead to one of the most humbling experiences of her career. The scene began innocently enough. Marcus walked into the office slightly later than expected, dressed in jeans and a button-down shirt. His intention was to quietly observe the morning routine and get a feel for the environment before making his presence known as the new CEO. What Marcus hadn't anticipated was an unexpected delay on his way to the office. Stopping to help a stranded motorist change a tire had put him behind schedule, a decision he didn't regret, but one that added an ironic twist to what was about to unfold. Lisa spotted Marcus immediately, her sharp eyes scanning him from head to toe. To her, he looked completely out of place, an unfamiliar face in casual clothes, holding a coffee cup and walking with an air of calm that she misinterpreted as nonchalance. Without hesitation, she approached him with a stern expression. "You're late," she said, her tone dripping with disapproval. "Do you have any idea what time it is?" Marcus, ever the gentleman, offered a polite explanation, mentioning the unexpected delay and apologizing for not arriving sooner. But Lisa wasn't interested in hearing excuses. She cut him off mid-sentence, delivering a curt lecture about punctuality and professionalism. "This company has no room for people who can't follow the rules," she declared. "Consider this your last day." Marcus's calm demeanor never wavered. He accepted her decision with a quiet nod, walking away without protest. Lisa, satisfied that she had asserted her authority, returned to her desk, confident that she had nipped a potential problem in the bud. She had no idea that her actions were being watched, not just by Marcus, but by other employees who had observed the exchange with discomfort and unease. Back at her desk, Lisa felt a sense of pride in her decisive action. She believed she had set an example for the rest of the team, reinforcing her reputation as a no-nonsense manager who didn't tolerate rule breakers. Eager to share her triumph, Lisa recounted the incident to a few of her colleagues, framing Marcus as an irresponsible temp worker who didn't take his job seriously. "I don't care where he's from," Lisa said with a smug smile. "If you can't show up on time, you don't belong here. End of story." Her words were met with uneasy chuckles from her peers, some of whom sensed that Lisa's behavior had crossed a line. However, none of them felt confident enough to challenge her, fearing the repercussions of standing up to someone in a position of power. As Lisa continued to boast about her handling of the situation, the office buzzed with whispers and speculation. Some employees, having overheard snippets of the conversation, couldn't shake the feeling that Marcus wasn't an ordinary worker. There was something about his calmness, his composure, and the way he had accepted the situation without argument. But Lisa, blinded by her arrogance and assumptions, remained oblivious to the storm that was about to upend her carefully curated world. The following day, the office was abuzz with anticipation. The company's executives had sent out an email earlier that morning announcing a mandatory all-staff meeting to welcome Axia Tech's new CEO. Employees filed into the conference room, whispering speculations about who the new leader might be. Lisa, as confident as ever, took a seat near the front, ready to showcase her managerial prowess and make a good impression on the incoming executive. She imagined herself as a future confidant of the CEO, someone who could help guide the company's culture under this new leadership. As the room filled with excitement, the tension grew palpable. The executives finally entered, taking their places on stage, with one of them stepping forward to deliver the introduction. "Ladies and gentlemen," the executive began, "it's my honor to introduce to you our new Chief Executive Officer, someone who has been a trailblazer in the tech industry. Please join me in welcoming Marcus Johnson." The applause began, but it quickly faltered as Marcus walked into the room, the same man Lisa had fired just a day earlier. Wearing a tailored suit and exuding an air of calm authority, Marcus's presence was magnetic. For a moment, there was stunned silence as the room absorbed the revelation. Lisa's face turned pale, her confidence evaporating in an instant. Her mind raced, replaying the events of the previous day. The man she had arrogantly dismissed as unimportant was now standing in front of her as her new boss. Marcus scanned the room, his sharp eyes landing on Lisa for a brief moment before he began speaking. "Thank you all for the warm welcome," he said, his voice steady and commanding. "I'm honored to be joining Axiotech as your new CEO, and I'm excited to work with each of you to take this company to new heights." As he continued his speech, Marcus remained professional and composed, never directly mentioning the previous day's incident. However, his words carried a subtle weight that left no doubt he was fully aware of what had transpired. Lisa shifted uncomfortably in her seat, realizing she had grossly misjudged the situation. After thanking the executives and employees for their support, Marcus transitioned into a powerful and thought-provoking address about his vision for the company. He spoke about innovation and progress, but he also emphasized the importance of inclusivity, respect, and treating all individuals with dignity. His tone was firm but approachable, commanding the attention of everyone in the room. "Before we can lead in the tech industry," Marcus said, "we must lead by example in how we treat one another. A workplace thrives when every individual feels valued, regardless of their background, role, or appearance. I've spent my career advocating for workplaces where everyone has a voice, and that will be a cornerstone of my leadership here at Axiotech." The room was silent, hanging on his every word. Marcus didn't need to name Lisa directly to make his point clear. As he spoke about fairness and combating bias, employees exchanged knowing glances, fully aware of the underlying message. "Judging someone based on assumptions," Marcus continued, "can lead to missed opportunities, opportunities to connect, to grow, and to achieve greatness as a team." Lisa's heart sank further with every word. She felt exposed, though Marcus never once looked her way. The employees in the room, many of whom had witnessed her behavior firsthand, were quick to recognize the parallels between Marcus's speech and the incident from the previous day. The realization that her actions had been both unjust and foolish hit Lisa like a tidal wave. By the end of Marcus's address, the room erupted into applause. His message had resonated deeply with the staff, leaving them inspired and motivated to align with his vision. Lisa, however, sat frozen, grappling with the realization that she had jeopardized her reputation and position within the company. After the meeting, Lisa retreated to her office, her mind racing as she processed the events that had just unfolded. For years, she had operated with the belief that her authority and judgment were infallible. She had built her career on a foundation of strict policies and quick decisions, often without considering the broader impact of her actions. But now, faced with the undeniable reality of her own bias, Lisa was forced to confront the flaws in her leadership style. Her dismissal of Marcus the previous day wasn't just a mistake. It was a reflection of her preconceived notions about who deserved respect and recognition. Lisa realized that she had judged Marcus not on his abilities or character, but on his appearance and the assumptions she had made about his worth. This realization was both humbling and deeply unsettling. Lisa's fear of the repercussions began to take hold. What would Marcus think of her now? Would he retaliate or make an example of her to send a message to the rest of the staff? The thought of losing her job and her reputation filled her with dread. But beyond her fear of consequences, Lisa also felt a pang of guilt. She had prided herself on being a strong and capable leader, yet she had failed in one of the most fundamental aspects of leadership, treating people with fairness and respect. For the first time, Lisa considered the possibility that her leadership style needed to change. She reflected on the culture she had fostered within her team, one of intimidation and rigidity rather than collaboration and inclusivity. Marcus's speech had made it clear that Axiotech was heading in a new direction, and Lisa realized that if she wanted to remain a part of the company, she would need to adapt. In the days following the meeting, Marcus wasted no time implementing changes within Axiotech. His leadership style was a breath of fresh air, blending confidence with approachability. He took the time to meet with employees at all levels, listening to their concerns and gathering feedback about the workplace culture. It was clear that Marcus was not just interested in maintaining the status quo, he was determined to transform the company into a model of inclusivity and collaboration. One of Marcus's first initiatives was to introduce mandatory diversity and inclusion training for all employees, including management. The program focused on addressing unconscious bias, fostering empathy, and promoting a culture of respect. Marcus made it clear that these values were non-negotiable and would be central to Axiotech's success moving forward. Building a great company starts with building a great culture, Marcus said during a company-wide announcement. We're not just here to create innovative products, we're here to create an environment where everyone feels empowered to contribute their best. Marcus's emphasis on fairness and equity resonated with the employees, many of whom felt energized by his vision. His ability to lead with humility and purpose inspired trust and admiration, setting a new standard for what leadership should look like. Lisa, still reeling from her earlier mistake, found herself in a difficult position. While she admired Marcus's approach, she also knew that her own behavior had fallen far short of his expectations. The thought of participating in diversity training alongside her colleagues was daunting, but Lisa knew it was a necessary step if she wanted to regain her credibility. Lisa's journey of self-reflection was neither easy nor swift. After years of leading with unchecked authority and making decisions based on assumptions, she had to confront an uncomfortable truth about herself. She had allowed biases to shape her behavior and influence her treatment of others. The incident with Marcus, now her CEO, was the catalyst for this change. The public nature of her actions, coupled with the private shame she felt, forced Lisa to take a hard look at her leadership style and how her quick judgments had not only hurt others, but also stifled her own growth. Her first step toward change began with attending the diversity and inclusion training sessions Marcus introduced to the company. Initially, Lisa feared these sessions would be nothing more than a corporate formality, another box to check. However, as she listened to the instructor share real-life examples of bias and prejudice in the workplace, she realized the sessions were anything but superficial. They encouraged employees to reflect on their own experiences and the ways unconscious bias could manifest in even the most well-meaning individuals. During one powerful session, the facilitator invited participants to share personal stories of prejudice, both as perpetrators and as victims. Lisa listened in silence as her colleagues recounted moments when they felt unseen, unheard, or unfairly judged because of their race, gender, or background. The vulnerability in the room was palpable, and for the first time, Lisa recognized how her own behavior might have contributed to the harm others experienced. A particular story from a junior employee about feeling overlooked by a manager struck Lisa deeply, as it mirrored her own actions toward Marcus. The most transformative exercise, however, came later in the session when participants were asked to examine their assumptions about others and reflect on how those assumptions shaped their interactions. Lisa was forced to confront the prejudices she had carried, beliefs she hadn't even realized she held. She thought about how she had judged Marcus the moment he walked into the office, dismissing him as unprofessional and insignificant based on his appearance and tardiness. She realized that her quick judgments had blinded her to his capabilities, intelligence, and humanity. It was a humbling moment, one that left her feeling a mixture of shame and determination to do better. But reflection alone wasn't enough for Lisa. She knew she needed to take meaningful action to repair the harm she had caused and show her commitment to change. This realization led her to request a private meeting with Marcus. It was one of the most nerve-wracking moments of her career. As she sat across from him in his office, Lisa felt vulnerable in a way she never had before. Her usual confidence was replaced by genuine humility as she began to speak. "I want to apologize," Lisa said, her voice trembling with sincerity. "I made assumptions about you that were completely unfair, and I let those assumptions dictate my actions. I failed to treat you with the respect you deserved, and for that, I am deeply sorry." She paused, gathering her thoughts. "I know an apology isn't enough, but I want you to know that I'm committed to learning from this experience and becoming a better leader, not just for myself, but for the entire team." Marcus listened intently, his expression calm yet thoughtful. When Lisa finished, he leaned forward slightly and met her gaze. "Change starts with acknowledging where we've gone wrong," he said. "It's not easy to admit our mistakes, but what matters most is what you do moving forward. Growth isn't about perfection. It's about progress." His words left a profound impact on Lisa. They were a reminder that while she couldn't undo the past, she had the power to shape her future actions. She left the meeting with a renewed sense of purpose, determined to align her behavior with the values Marcus was instilling in the company. Lisa didn't stop at the training sessions or her apology. She took tangible steps to rebuild trust within her team and foster a more inclusive environment. She began holding regular one-on-one meetings with her direct reports to listen to their concerns and ideas, making sure every voice was heard. She actively sought feedback on her leadership style, asking her colleagues to hold her accountable for any behaviors that didn't align with the inclusive culture they were striving to create. Over time, Lisa's efforts began to pay off. Her colleagues noticed a shift in her demeanor. She was less dismissive, more collaborative, and genuinely invested in the success and well-being of the team. She openly shared her journey of self-reflection during team meetings, using her mistakes as a learning opportunity for others. "I've learned that assumptions can be dangerous," she admitted during one meeting. "They can cloud our judgment and prevent us from seeing the value in others. I'm committed to breaking that habit, and I hope you'll all join me in building a workplace where everyone feels respected and valued." Lisa's transformation didn't happen overnight, and she still had moments where she had to check herself and unlearn old habits. But her willingness to confront her flaws and make consistent efforts toward improvement earned her the respect of her colleagues, and even Marcus. For Lisa, this journey was more than just professional growth. It was personal. She began applying the lessons she learned in the workplace to her interactions outside of it, recognizing how deeply ingrained biases could affect every aspect of life. She became an advocate for equity and inclusion, both within the company and in her community, speaking at events and mentoring young professionals who had faced similar challenges to Marcus. Lisa's transformation also had a ripple effect within the company. Her vulnerability and openness inspired other leaders to reflect on their own behaviors and commit to change. The culture at Axiotech began to shift as more employees embraced Marcus's vision of a workplace rooted in respect, collaboration, and accountability. By the end of the year, Lisa felt like a different person. She no longer operated from a place of authority for authority's sake. Instead, she led with empathy, humility, and a genuine desire to uplift those around her. And though she would always carry the memory of her misstep with Marcus, she viewed it as a turning point, a moment that taught her the importance of seeing people for who they truly are, not who she assumed them to be. For Marcus, Lisa's journey was a testament to the power of grace and the potential for growth in everyone. By choosing to forgive and guide rather than punish, he had created an opportunity for Lisa to not only redeem herself, but also inspire others to do the same. Their story became a powerful example of what could happen when accountability was paired with compassion, and when leadership was rooted in the belief that everyone is capable of change. The story of Marcus Johnson and Lisa Walker became a transformative chapter in the history of Axiotech. It wasn't just a tale about one man's rise to leadership or one woman's stumble in judgment. It was a story that highlighted the importance of respect, accountability, and personal growth. For Marcus, the experience of walking into his new role undercover reaffirmed his belief in leading with empathy and understanding. His ability to address a toxic culture without resorting to public humiliation showed a level of grace that resonated deeply with the entire company. By implementing new policies centered around inclusion and fairness, Marcus set a precedent for what modern leadership should look like. Under his guidance, Axiotech flourished, not only in profits but also in employee morale and unity. Lisa's journey, meanwhile, served as a powerful lesson in humility and redemption. She recognized that her behavior, rooted in unconscious bias and overconfidence, had created a culture of exclusion and fear. Through self-reflection and participation in Marcus's diversity initiatives, Lisa slowly transformed her approach to leadership. She began focusing on collaboration, actively listening to her team, and fostering an environment where everyone could thrive. In time, Lisa regained the trust of her colleagues, though the journey wasn't easy. She remained transparent about her mistakes, often sharing her experience as a cautionary tale during training sessions. She took ownership of her growth, proving that redemption was possible when one chose to confront their flaws honestly. The company itself benefited greatly from these changes. Employees who had previously felt silenced began to feel empowered to speak up. Teams became more cohesive, and a sense of mutual respect permeated the office. Marcus's emphasis on treating people with dignity, regardless of their rank or background, became the cornerstone of Axiotech's success. As for Marcus and Lisa's relationship, it grew into one of mutual respect. Marcus, ever the patient and forgiving leader, continued to mentor Lisa, helping her refine her skills and approach. Lisa, in turn, became one of Marcus's most ardent supporters, committed to carrying out his vision for the company. Together, they demonstrated that change was possible, not just for individuals, but for entire organizations. In one of his final speeches of the year, Marcus addressed the entire staff at Axiotech. "Leadership isn't about wielding power or making decisions in isolation," he said. "It's about building a culture where everyone feels valued, respected, and capable of achieving their best. It's about learning from our mistakes and using them to create something better." His words were met with thunderous applause, a testament to the impact he had made in such a short time. The story of Marcus and Lisa serves as a reminder that respect and humility should never be optional in the workplace or in life. It's a tale of how quick judgments can lead to lasting consequences, but also how self-awareness and a willingness to grow can turn even the most difficult situations into opportunities for redemption. As Marcus walked through the office one evening, he passed by Lisa's desk. She looked up, nodded, and smiled. It was a small gesture, but one that spoke volumes. Both of them had grown, and so had the company they now worked together to build. Axiotech wasn't just a place of innovation anymore. It was a symbol of progress, unity, and the belief that everyone, no matter their role or background, deserved to be treated with dignity. The story concludes with a powerful takeaway. Leadership isn't about being right all the time. It's about being willing to learn, grow, and inspire others to do the same. True greatness comes not from wealth or titles, but from the strength of character to lead with empathy and fairness. And for Marcus Johnson, the once dismissed employee turned CEO, the journey was only beginning.